They call them games of chance. But inside every blinking slot machine, there's no real chance, only carefully engineered illusion. Walk into any casino, and your eyes are instantly drawn to them. The flashing lights, the cheerful jingles, the sound of coins, though there are no coins anymore, spilling out of invisible jackpots. They sit in neat rows, like digital sirens, luring players toward an endless sea of possibility. Every color, every chime, every animation is designed with precision by teams of behavioral scientists, software developers, and mathematicians. You're not just spinning for luck, you're stepping into an algorithm. Behind those cheerful bonus rounds and fun features lies one of the most sophisticated psychological systems ever built for entertainment. One that doesn't just take your money, but your attention, your patience, and your ability to stop. And if you've ever wondered why fun slots, the ones with bright cartoon themes, free spins, and playful music, seem the most addictive of all, you're about to find out why that's no accident. Because according to one former slot engineer we spoke with, the more fun we made them, the worse the odds became. Let that sink in. The brighter, friendlier, and more harmless a slot feels, the less chance you actually have of walking away with anything. It's a system that thrives on comfort, on trust. Casinos know that players drop their guard around games that look safe, funny, or nostalgic. They don't feel like gambling, they feel like playing. But here's what most people don't realize. The same cheerful machines that make you laugh, sing, and celebrate small wins are mathematically structured to drain your balance faster than the high-stakes, intimidating ones you tend to avoid. Inside the industry, it's known as the reward illusion, a design trick that makes your brain believe you're winning even as you're slowly losing. It's not luck, it's neuroscience turned into code. In this video, we'll uncover exactly how that illusion works. We'll step inside the mind of a slot engineer, reveal the hidden systems behind your favorite fun machines, and expose why those games, wrapped in cartoon characters and catchy tunes, might just have the worst odds on the casino floor. And by the end, you'll see these machines the way engineers do, not as games, but as finely tuned behavioral loops, where every spin, win, and loss is part of a pattern meant to keep you playing longer than you ever planned to. Because the real secret of slot machines isn't how they make money, it's how they make you forget that you're losing it. If you've ever sat at a fun machine and thought, "I'm due for a win soon," you might want to stick around, because what comes next will change how you see every spin. You've probably noticed it before. The moment you step into a casino, something changes. The air feels different. The sounds wrap around you. Time seems to melt. There are no clocks, no windows, no exits in sight. It's not an accident. It's architecture with intent. Every square inch of a casino floor is designed to keep you inside. The patterns on the carpet, the path of the aisles, even the gentle temperature drop near the center of the floor. All of it subtly controls where your attention goes and how long you'll stay. But the most powerful lure of all isn't the lights or the layout. It's the illusion of choice. Casinos know that people love feeling in control. They like walking the aisles, scanning machines, picking the one that feels lucky. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That choice is an illusion too. Because the moment you pick that bright, friendly machine near the entrance, the one that's easy to reach with simple graphics and cheerful sounds, you've already walked into a trap. Slot engineers call it placement psychology. Casinos know which machines attract beginners, casuals, and fun players. They position those machines at the edges, near walkways, restrooms, and entrances, areas of high foot traffic where curiosity spikes. They're designed to look safe. Low bets, familiar themes, maybe a cartoon or an old TV show you recognize from childhood. Everything about them whispers, "This one's just for fun." But behind that friendly face, Those machines often have the lowest return-to-player percentages on the entire floor. In some casinos, the difference between a fun slot and a high-denomination slot in the back can be as much as 15% in payout odds. To most players, that number means nothing, but to engineers, it's everything. That 15% gap doesn't sound huge until you realize that means over time, the casino expects to keep $15 more out of every $100 spent on those fun games. And yet those are the machines that stay busiest, longest, and most profitable. Why? Because of a principle engineers call comfort loop bias. When you feel relaxed, when a machine makes you smile, laugh, or sing along, your guard drops. You take more spins. You bet more often. You stay longer. And that's the real goal. Casinos don't need you to lose big. They just need you to lose slowly, comfortably, quietly, in a way that makes you feel like you're still in control. In internal industry training documents, designers describe this as the ideal player flow, a loop where entertainment masks loss and dopamine replaces logic. One engineer famously wrote, "The most profitable player is the one who believes they're just playing for fun." It's why you rarely find clocks, why some floors pump in gentle scents tied to excitement and warmth, why the background music seamlessly shifts tempo depending on how busy the room feels. Every cue tells your brain, stay, play a little longer, and most people do. According to a Nevada Gaming Control Board study, more than 75% of slot players can't correctly identify which machines have higher odds, even after years of play. The reason? Casinos deliberately make it impossible to tell by sight. The same bright design that makes one machine look inviting is the same camouflage that hides its true odds. Here's the subtle genius of it all. The machines that feel the least intimidating, the ones marketed as fun, friendly, and low stakes, are statistically the ones that give you the least in return. That's why serious gamblers often head to the dark corners of the floor, the older, quieter machines, fewer graphics, fewer animations. Less fun, but better math. Meanwhile, casual players stay where it's comfortable, right where the casinos want them. It's not greed, it's design. An ecosystem engineered to reward behavior, not luck. And if that sounds manipulative, well, it's meant to be. Because casinos aren't selling the possibility of winning. They're selling the experience of almost winning. That's why even a small payout, a few credits here, a mini jackpot there, triggers a little burst of music, a flash of light, and the illusion of progress. The game is training your brain to associate loss with excitement. It's a perfect feedback loop. So when you next walk across that shiny casino floor, remember this. Every color, every corner, every sound has a purpose. And that purpose isn't to entertain you, it's to retain you. Next time you step onto a casino floor, look around. Really look. Notice which machines seem to call your name first. If you've ever wondered why it's always the fun ones, stick around. Because in the next chapter, we'll go inside the machines themselves and see what slot engineers never meant you to see.
Behind every spinning reel is something that never spins at all: the code. It's easy to think slot machines are just digital versions of old mechanical games. Reels, symbols, random outcomes, all up to chance. That's the story casinos want you to believe. But inside the machine, the chance isn't truly random. It's manufactured. At the heart of every slot game lies an algorithm known as the random number generator, or RNG. It runs constantly, thousands of times per second, even when no one is playing. Its job is to generate endless strings of numbers that determine where each reel stops. To the untrained eye, it looks like luck. To an engineer, it's a formula, one that can be shaped. Here's how it works. Each symbol on each reel is assigned a value. The RNG picks numbers that correspond to those symbols. When you press spin, the machine simply displays whatever combination the algorithm had already chosen milliseconds earlier. That means the outcome is decided long before the reels even stop. The spinning, the flashing lights, the suspenseful pauses, they're just theater. The machine already knows how this story ends. Now here's the trick. Slot engineers can't legally make the machine rigged, but they can adjust the weighting, the probability assigned to each symbol, so that some appear more often in the animation than in the actual payout pattern. This creates what's known in the industry as the near-miss illusion. Let's say you almost land 3 jackpot symbols, 2 on the line, 1 just above it. Your brain lights up with excitement. You feel like you were this close. But in reality, that near miss was programmed to appear at statistically planned intervals, not because you were close to winning, but because the game wants you to feel that way. Neuroscientists have proven that a near miss activates the same part of the brain as a win. That's dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, tricking you into thinking you made progress. Slot engineers exploit that response masterfully. They call it loss disguised as progress. The RNG might technically be random, but the experience isn't. It's guided, engineered to deliver excitement in perfectly timed doses. Even the sound design plays a role. A small win, say 5 credits back from a 10-credit spin, still triggers a winning jingle. You've actually lost money, but the sound tells your brain otherwise. This keeps your dopamine levels steady and your motivation high. Inside design teams, this principle is called positive reinforcement scheduling. It's borrowed directly from behavioral psychology, the same science used to train animals or design social media apps. Reward unpredictably, and the brain becomes addicted to seeking that next random hit. One former engineer, speaking anonymously, described it this way. Every sound, every animation, every pause, it's a variable in the equation. Our job isn't to make the player win, it's to make them feel like they're about to. That's the genius of the modern slot. It's not selling luck, it's selling anticipation. Even volatility, the measure of how often and how big payouts occur, is carefully tuned. High volatility machines promise big jackpots, but fewer wins, perfect for thrill seekers. Low volatility ones hand out frequent small rewards that mask long-term loss. Casinos mix both types strategically across the floor to cater to different player psychologies. And the newer, fun slots? They're masterclasses in engagement. Bright graphics, bonus rounds, mini-games, interactive features, each one disguises complexity as entertainment. But beneath the cartoonish surface is a system built to extract the same result: continuous play. The irony is, even engineers admit they're proud of their craft. To them, it's a feat of programming and design, not deception. They build experiences, and in a way, they're right. Slot machines are among the most advanced interactive products ever created. Only the interaction always favors one side. Casinos use data from every spin to refine those experiences even further. Modern digital machines are networked, constantly feeding back statistics, how long players stay, when they stop, how their betting behavior changes over time. That data doesn't just sit in a report, it shapes the next update, the next game, the next fun feature. It's the reason why newer slots seem more immersive than ever. They adapt to behavior patterns that engineers can predict down to the minute. A carefully timed minigame, a celebratory animation at your lowest balance point, even a second chance feature when you're about to walk away. All of it built to keep you in that chair. The machine is watching you as much as you're watching it. And the secret every slot engineer knows, but few admit publicly, is that randomness isn't the goal. Engagement is. The longer you play, the more predictable your losses become. The house edge doesn't have to be large. It just has to be constant. In short, modern slots don't cheat. They persuade. Quietly, efficiently, relentlessly. So when you hit that spin button, remember, the game has already made its decision. The only question left is how long it can keep you believing that it hasn't. If you've ever felt like a machine almost let you win, you're not imagining it. That's by design. In the next chapter, we'll explore how those near misses and small wins shape your brain, and why slot designers call it the illusion of winning. Winning feels good, that's obvious. But what if losing could feel almost as good? That's the psychology casinos quietly perfected. To understand how, you need to picture what happens inside your brain each time the reels spin. Before you even press spin, your brain releases a little dopamine, the neurotransmitter tied to excitement and anticipation. The same chemical rush gamblers felt pulling a real lever decades ago is now triggered by tapping a glowing screen. Now, imagine this. You bet $1. The reel spin, you win 60 cents. The machine explodes with light and sound, triumphant music, fireworks, maybe even a dancing cartoon mascot. Your brain celebrates, even though you lost 40 cents. This is called a false win, or loss framed as reward. And it's the backbone of slot psychology. Inside industry circles, developers call it reinforced feedback. Every small victory, even when it costs you money, is celebrated like a jackpot. Because the point isn't to make you richer, it's to make you feel rewarded enough to continue. Studies from the University of British Columbia showed that players who experienced frequent small wins, even net losses, played nearly double the time compared to those whose games paid less often, but more honestly. The machines didn't need to cheat. They simply blurred the line between winning and losing until it stopped mattering. This is where slot machines become something more than games. They become conditioning systems. Think of it like this. Each sound, animation, and vibration acts as a stimulus. When you hear the cheerful ding after a spin, your brain releases dopamine. That dopamine becomes the reward, not the payout. The anticipation of that next sound, that next animation, becomes addictive. It's the same principle that drives people to refresh social media for new notifications. Slot designers have a name for this rhythm, the dopamine loop, a feedback cycle that rewards you just enough to keep you chasing the next spin. Even the design of the buttons plays into it. The large spin button, the satisfying haptic click, the delay between spins timed to match your brain's reward rhythm. It's a symphony of psychology and programming, and you're the instrument. But it doesn't stop there. Casinos discovered that by changing how they display wins, they could stretch this illusion even further. Take, for example, the win meter. It counts up your winnings slowly, flashing and beeping, even when you've earned only a few cents. That moment of counting, that suspense, feels like a victory. It's the same trick slot developers borrowed from old TV game shows like Wheel of Fortune. Then there's the multi-line illusion. Modern slots allow you to bet across dozens of lines at once. You can win on one line while losing on 20 others. Yet the game still celebrates it as a success. Flashing lights, bold win text, exciting music, all while your credit balance quietly drops. In engineering terms, this is called loss camouflage. In marketing terms, it's genius. The designers aren't just building machines, they're shaping perception. To them, a player's emotional reality matters more than mathematical reality. As long as the player feels like they're winning, they'll keep playing. And the deeper players fall into that illusion, the more dangerous it becomes. Behavioral psychologists call it the extinction delay. It's when the brain continues to repeat a behavior even without real reward because it's been trained to expect one. The illusion of winning delays that moment when a player realizes they're losing. That's why people can sit for hours, convinced they're doing well, small wins, constant reinforcement, until suddenly their credits are gone. But there's another layer most players never think about, the music. Sound engineers design slot soundtracks like miniature pop songs. Each reel spin fits a rhythm. Each bonus feature has a chorus. And crucially, those melodies resolve musically even on a loss. Meaning, your brain feels satisfied no matter what happens. It's musical closure disguised as gambling victory. Casinos even use specific frequencies and keys, often bright major chords, because they trigger positivity. A happy sound equals a good experience. You may have lost money, but the sound says, everything's fine, try again. Now combine that sound design with lighting. Cool blues when you're idle, warm yellows and reds when you win. The whole experience becomes immersive. You're not gambling anymore. You're inside a behavioral feedback loop. And the longer you stay there, the less your rational mind interferes. Neuroscientists call this state the dissociative zone. Players describe it as the trance, a place where time, money, and consequence blur into a haze of lights and sounds. And for casinos, it's the most profitable place a player can be. Because while you think you're chasing a win, the machine is chasing your attention. And once it has that, it doesn't let go easily. If you've ever caught yourself thinking, I'm winning, I can feel it, even as your balance dropped, that's the illusion working perfectly. In the next chapter, we'll uncover a real case that proved just how powerful this illusion can be and how one algorithm almost crossed the line from entertainment into manipulation. There's a saying among casino techs, the real magic isn't in the machine, it's in the math. And that's where things start to get dark. When digital slot machines replaced mechanical ones, something fundamentally changed. Reels no longer relied on gears and stops, they relied on algorithms. And those algorithms could be programmed to behave in ways that seemed random but weren't. Behind every spin you see, the flashing lights, the spinning cherries, the teasing near misses, there's a complex system deciding outcomes long before your finger even hits the button. It's called the RNG, or random number generator. Sounds fair, right? But what if it's not as random as it sounds? Slot engineers admit, off the record, that RNGs can be weighted, meaning certain outcomes can appear more often visually, even if they're mathematically impossible to win on that spin. That's how near misses happen. You land 2 jackpot symbols and the third stops just 1 pixel above the line. Your heart jumps. You were so close. But the truth? That last symbol was never even a possibility in the system's probability map. It was placed there by the algorithm to make you think you almost won. One engineer described it like this: "We design patterns that feel random but keep people chasing. The goal isn't fairness, it's flow." Flow. That's the key word in modern slot psychology. It's the mental state where you lose track of time, of money, of surroundings. Casinos know if they can keep a player in flow for 20 minutes, the chances of them leaving with money drop by 90%. So how do they do it? By adjusting something called the reinforcement schedule. This is the same system used in video games, dating apps, and even social media notifications. Wins, or reward stimuli, are spaced out in unpredictable patterns, enough to keep you hopeful, but never enough to let you walk away satisfied. The algorithm studies patterns too. Modern slot networks track spin speed, bet size, hesitation time, and even idle duration. These metrics feed machine learning models that adjust the payout rhythm in real time. If you're losing too fast, it throws you a small win to reel you back in. If you're ahead, it tightens the odds until the balance shifts again. And that's how players lose, not because they're unlucky, but because they're outplayed by design. The industry calls it adaptive entertainment. Critics call it behavioral engineering. But the result is the same. Your dopamine, your emotions, and your wallet all managed by code. And here's the twist most people don't realize. These systems are legal. As long as the long-term payout rate matches the declared percentage, the way it gets there doesn't matter. A 92% RTP machine can still feel like it's rewarding you often, because it's not lying, it's just telling stories through math. Players walk away thinking they were in control. They weren't. They were participating in a finely tuned psychological illusion. Next time you spin and almost hit that jackpot, ask yourself, was that luck or a line of code making sure you didn't? If you've ever caught yourself thinking, I'm winning, I can feel it, even as your balance dropped, that's the illusion working perfectly.
If you've made it this far, you already understand the truth. Slot machines aren't just games. They're engineered systems designed to manipulate perception, trigger dopamine, and keep you spinning far longer than intended. But knowledge is power. Understanding the psychology and algorithms behind the machine gives players a fighting chance. The first step is recognizing the illusion of control. Casinos make you feel like every choice matters, which machine to pick, which line to bet on, when to stop. In reality, these decisions have minimal impact on outcomes. The RNG decides results before you press any button. Stopping or changing machines won't change the odds. Instead, players must focus on managing behavior, not predicting spins. Set firm limits before you play, for time and money. Decide in advance how many spins you'll take, how much you're willing to lose, and when to walk away. The machines can't trick a mind that already has boundaries. Next, understand the concept of machine volatility. High volatility games offer rare big wins. Low volatility games give frequent small wins. Many fun slots are low volatility. Frequent wins keep you spinning longer, slowly eroding your balance. If your goal is entertainment, low volatility can be enjoyable, but never fool yourself into thinking small wins mean luck is on your side. One practical tip engineers often mention privately: treat every win as a loss. Even when a machine pays back a few credits, it's still taking more than it gives. Reframe your mindset to focus on the cost of play instead of chasing perceived progress. Then there's the near-miss trap. When reels line up almost perfectly, your brain signals that success is imminent. That feeling is dopamine hijacking your logic. Awareness is the antidote. Recognize near misses for what they are: engineered illusion, not a signal of luck. Bankroll management is critical. Divide your gambling budget into smaller sessions. Never chase losses. And when the timer or session ends, leave. Even a tiny deviation from a preset rule can spiral into hours of unintentional play. Beyond personal strategy, consider the psychology of environment. Casinos manipulate light, sound, and even scent to enhance engagement. Pay attention. Notice the cues. If the floor feels too stimulating, step outside, take a break, reset your mindset. These cues are designed to keep you in the flow. Awareness breaks it. For players seeking deeper control, some tools are surprisingly effective. Track time and money spent using apps or notes. Observe patterns without betting. Watch other players and learn from their mistakes. And here's one key insight from engineers: fun and entertainment are not the enemy. Unawareness is. When you understand that the flashing lights, cheerful music, and bonus games are designed to extend play, you can enjoy the experience without losing perspective. The ultimate strategy is mental. Recognize that every spin is part of a pattern. You are not competing against luck. You're navigating a system built to exploit human psychology. Awareness and restraint are your tools. Every time you step away intentionally, every time you refuse to chase a loss, you reclaim control. This isn't about guaranteeing wins. No system can do that. It's about minimizing losses, enjoying the experience consciously, and understanding the house rules beyond the surface. Because when players approach slots with knowledge and discipline, the psychological manipulation loses its grip. If you've ever walked away from a slot machine thinking, "I wish I had known this before," share it in the comments. Your insight might help someone else see through the illusion and break the cycle before it's too late. By now, the picture should be clear. Slot machines are far more than simple games of chance. They are carefully engineered systems, a fusion of mathematics, behavioral psychology, and entertainment design built to keep players engaged, excited, and unaware of the slow, steady erosion of their bankrolls. From the moment you step on the casino floor, every element is designed to influence your behavior. Lighting, sound, layout, even the placement of fun machines guides your attention and primes your brain to enjoy losses disguised as wins. Inside the machine, algorithms and RNGs create a carefully orchestrated illusion with near misses, false wins, and reinforcement loops that trigger dopamine responses at precisely calculated intervals. You've seen how fun slots, the ones with cartoon characters, colorful graphics, and mini-games, are not as harmless as they appear. They exploit your comfort, trust, and desire for entertainment. Each small win, each celebratory jingle, each flashing reel is part of a psychological system designed to keep you spinning. But awareness changes the game. Recognizing the illusions, understanding volatility, and maintaining strict limits allows players to enjoy the experience without losing control. Knowledge gives you perspective, the same insight engineers have, without the responsibility of programming the system. Remember, the house doesn't need to cheat. The design, the math, and your own psychology do the work for them. And once you understand that, you can make conscious choices, when to play, when to step away, and how to enjoy slots as entertainment rather than a source of loss. The takeaway is simple. Fun should stay fun, not expensive. Set limits, recognize engineered cues, and never chase wins or illusions. The minute you see the mechanics behind the glitter and lights, the power shifts back to you. Slot machines are fascinating feats of design, and for engineers, they're a testament to creativity and understanding human behavior. For players, they are a reminder that the most dangerous games are the ones that feel safe and entertaining. Because the brighter and friendlier a slot looks, the more subtle the trap becomes. If this video has given you insight into the machines you thought you knew, share your thoughts below. Have you ever noticed a fun slot that seemed to pull you in more than others? Your insight might help someone else see through the illusion and break the cycle before it's too late. Knowledge is your advantage. Awareness is your shield. And now, every time you see a blinking reel or hear that cheerful jingle, you'll know the truth behind the fun. If this opened your eyes to the world behind the slots, comment your experience below and let others know. The more we understand, the less the machines control us.